Hello, everyone. It is a change on the planned procedure, but only in the sense that Tim Cameron Kitchen is now Ali Newton, so it is exactly the same presentation, but Tim has had a bit of an issue that's called him away, and Ali at lastminute.com has stepped in and said she's going to be here for us all. So we're up to the third lecture. We're in quite an intimate room. It's a little bit warm. It's a bit dark. It's very important that we give a huge, rapturous round of applause for Ali, who has stepped into the breach, lastminute.net, to give a magnificent presentation on SEO and how we can use a bit of AI to make it work. Is that about right? Yes? Yes? Can I have a rapturous round of applause? Ali Newton's going to take us away. Here we go. There we go. Come on.
Thank you. What a lovely intro. Thanks, Chris. So, yes, I'm Ali. I'm not Tim. I'm the Commercial Director at Exposure Ninja. We're a fully remote, 100-strong digital marketing agency. And I am an ex-in-house marketer, moved my way into agencies, so I've seen both sides from all different angles. And my team and I advise hundreds of businesses each year on how to increase their visibility online, so increasing traffic, leads, sales, and making sure that businesses get found. I've come from Oakhampton today. I don't know if anyone else has come from Oakie direction. Anyone? Couple? Yeah, hi, Oakie friends. And I live there with my partner, 3 horses, one of them's a little like Dartmoor hill pony, a couple of dogs, a couple of hamsters, and a tenrick. Bonus points to anyone who knows what on earth a tenrick is. If you want to find out, come see me at the stand and I will happily show you pictures of him. So today I'm going to help you navigate a really profound shift in one of, if not the most important digital marketing tools that we have for the majority of businesses, whether they know it or not. So this is a big shift that's coming in Google and is coming soon. So just as a show of hands, who has used some AI in their marketing so far? I expect most of you. Yeah, lots of hands, brilliant. Who has used or knows about SGE? Ooh, not many. Okay, I see one at the back. I think it's Al. Thanks, Al. No, that's absolutely fine. If you do know about SGE, then great. If you don't, then you're in exactly the right place because I'll be able to help you out with that today. This is a big change that's coming. This is probably the future of search, so you're going to want to know about it. So, something big is coming. Exposure Ninja has been helping to rank clients on Google for over a decade now, and I'm coming up to that myself, which is a bit scary. And this will be the most important shift that we've actually seen in that time. So yes, I am saying that it's probably more exciting than Penguin and Panda and all of that fun that we had a few years back. It's going to be a fundamental change to how Google works, and we're expecting that it will roll out in a few months' time, probably sometime next year. The test technically ends at the end of December, and there's murmurings that the full rollout will be public kind of a bit beyond that. But we'll see. Google doesn't always like to tell us exactly what's happening and when, because we'll of course try and SEO everything and get it optimized ready. It's going to require a new approach, and I'll talk a bit more about the effects and the timelines and what that all looks like later. But first, let's just have a look at how this is actually physically going to look on the Google page. So this is, if you've been trying to optimize your website, this is your battleground, you know it well. You've got your featured snippet up at the top, so the bit that everyone squabbles over because they want to be seen in that prime real estate at the top. You've got your people also ask section, questions you didn't necessarily know you wanted to ask, but now you do because you've seen it. The regular organic results that we're all familiar with, and then images, and sometimes this moves around a little bit depending on what you've searched for and Google's trying to match your intent or testing something. So fundamentally, it's quite clear what Google wants to happen when you look at this. What Google's trying to do is send visitors to the best website because it wants to give people the best information, otherwise Google's basically useless, right? It's got to encourage you to get to the right place fast. So it's trying to get people to the websites. What does SGE look like compared to this? So bear with me a second, we can do a little bit of time travel, and we're going to take a step into what this is going to look like. So to get to this screen, you have to be, at the moment, signed up to Google Labs, which you can do. You need to use a US proxy, so you can use something like BrowserSec or a VPN or something, which will help you be able to log into this and pretend you're in the US to be able to access it, because they're giving US like the first view of it. And what you'll see on this page is that this whole section here, this prime real estate, is all written by AI. So this is search generative experience. This is generated by an AI. This information is not supposedly taken directly from websites, but we'll talk about that a bit more in a minute. And the goal here for Google is to answer the searcher's question as quickly as possible on the page. So because it's generating its own information, you don't actually have to visit a web page at all to learn anything about this topic. So if you've got your laser beam eyes on, you've been eating your carrots, you'll be able to see that this is about what is a page title. And you've got everything you could possibly want to know here, probably, and a bunch of questions down the bottom as well. So Google's goal is changing. It's trying to answer quickly and succinctly as possible, and it's doing that just in the text. So all of those other search features, the things we've been all fighting for against our competitors, the featured snippets, the people also asked for, all the regular searches, images, all of that stuff is way down the page. It's 2.5 miles down below the fold now. So what does this mean then? Let's have a look at a live example. Sorry. This is here's one we made earlier situation. So what is Exposure Ninja? This is a branded search. And how Google displays this changes. So in this example, you can see that we clicked the Show More button to reveal it. In some searches, it's already open. And you might think that if someone searches for a brand name, someone would end up on that brand's website. Seems logical. But not necessarily, because you can see here that SGE is managing to pull information from all over the place. Most of these websites aren't exposureninja.com, although we're very well optimized for normal organic search. SGE is actually pulling things through from LinkedIn, Crunchbase, various different business-related websites, but very few of them are Exposure Ninja. And you can learn so much about Exposure Ninja without having to go anywhere near our website. So why does this matter? It matters because the goal is changing. Google's goal is changing. It's moving from trying to serve the best answer by giving you the best website to just giving the best answer directly in search results. So it's actually just giving the answer directly in there, and you can see that even things like reviews, we've got reviews.io, all just being pulled directly into the actual search itself. So this matters because Google is trying to serve up answers fast. That's always been Google's goal, because obviously that makes it quicker. If you're not getting to the answers you need to get to, then it's not working. And I've got to give it to Google, this is super convenient. I've been using this a lot myself, and if my search generated answer doesn't come up, I'm kind of a bit disappointed and upset because I'm so used to this now, just doing my clicking for me. It's already there on my page. I don't have to search around various websites trying to figure it out. So this is a fundamental shift from directing users to websites to showing the answers directly in the search engine results themselves. So what's the actual impact of this? This is some data put together by an Israeli SEO company called Agile SEO, and this is the predicted traffic impact. So you can see that in these projections, they range from best case scenario being around 18% drop in traffic to most business websites, and in the worst case scenario, we're looking at 64% drop in traffic if this launches in the next few months. So I imagine for anyone who's a marketer and has to report in to someone, this sounds a bit scary. It does get cheerier in a minute, don't worry. But yes, this could be a very impactful change. These numbers aren't definitely right. People are guessing. Everyone's trying to have a guess at what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. It's an imperfect study. There are some assumptions built in here that, maybe some of them are a bit flawed. But looking around the data and the projections, some of the best case scenarios I've seen are a 15% drop in traffic. So trying to have these conversations is obviously not ideal. If you're a marketer and you're reporting into the business, or if you're perhaps the owner of a business and you're chatting to your sales team and talking about why leads have dropped, this is something that you're going to be concerned about. It's particularly difficult because you're going to be saying that Google's AI is kind of gobbling it all up, and that's not a nice conversation to have either, because you then have to backtrack and explain how that works and why. But don't worry, this is definitely getting cheerier, I promise. The kind of main areas of impact are likely to be around a drop in informational organic traffic. So when I say this, what I mean is things like if you're searching for, I don't know, what's the best camera phone, 2023? And you're going to be met with, in normal, this land, before SGE, you're going to be met with a bunch of different websites that are giving you guides, they're giving you the 10 best phones, and they're going to give you some information about them, so they'll give you, I don't know, budget, how much they hold their battery and all of this stuff that people want to know about their phones. And eventually you'll navigate your way onto a particular phone. It will essentially funnel you down into wanting to purchase a particular phone. So if I'm Apple, which I'm definitely not, but if I were, I would want to be targeting you at that level before you've made a decision what phone it is that you want to buy. Well, this is largely going to be happening actually within Google now. Google is going to be able to just control that for you. So you'll be able to actually put into it things like, your budget and all of this stuff, and it will just present that answer to you as it did at the top of our AI-generated version just a minute ago. So this means that most websites are going to get fewer top-of-funnel visitors. And this is a tricky thing for quite a lot of businesses who rely on people seeing that content and then being met with a call to action. So being met with, find out more, here's our phone number, book in a consultation, whatever it is that you use to help capture your leads. This is going to be harder to get in front of people. It does get cheerier, I do promise. This is likely to cause a few doubts. If you're internal, you're going to be doubting your content strategy a little bit because you're going to be worrying about Google kind of eating your traffic. You're going to be worried about producing lots of content and some of it never really being seen. And actually, it just kind of being used as Google fodder for the search results. And this is going to lead to fear. So with all of this slight doom and gloom, maybe we can just kind of close our eyes and hope that it all goes away and it will just leave us to it. I think it's really unlikely, I'm afraid. So this is Sundar Pichai, this is Google's CEO, and in the Q2 earnings call, he was really super backing SGE and is kind of using this as the big ray of sunshine to help boost things. So Google may lie to customers and users occasionally, and if you've been following the antitrust case in the US, you may notice that possibly even done a few fibs to regulators, but they can't lie to their investors. And Sundar is very bullish about SGE, and has been saying that over time this will just be how search works. They're building the next major revolution in search. And as a user, I think I kind of believe him. I really like it. So cue the screens. SEO is dead. I don't know how many of you have heard this multiple times throughout your SEO careers. Our founder Tim used to idolise Chris Cardell. Absolutely loved him. And this is, back before EN was even a thing. And Tim learnt Google Ads from Chris Cardell in about 2005, back when it was all easy. And Tim talks about getting an email from Chris one day saying, SEO is dead. Tim's obviously mortified because he's built an SEO, he's building an SEO agency, he's pouring his life and soul into this. He's written a book, it's a really good book, it's updated, but it's a good book. And he, has really poured everything he has into this, and SEO is dead. So what's he going to do? Well, this was in 2011. So every few years, this kind of comment gets whipped out. Some people proclaim the death of SEO, and they do it regularly. So this happened in 2011, it happened again in 2013, and again in 2018 with the Medic update. So we've had a few years off, but I reckon this comment's going to be coming up again a lot. So what's the reality then? The reality is that as long as there's a search engine, there's going to be some form of optimization. It probably won't look the same, it will change. But the industry's been changing all the time, constantly for years, so there will be ways to make sure that you get your business found. At Exposure Ninja, we think it's our job to get our clients found wherever customers are searching for them. That's all SEO really is. So getting information out of your business, or sometimes out of your brain, if you're like the sole person working on it, and putting it online in a way that means that people can actually find it. So it's a new type of search engine, but there will be a way to optimize it for it. In fact, I'm going to show you a few ways in just a minute. It turns out in SGE there are 4 ways to win. There are 4 things that you need to be looking for. So this is our new battleground, right? Again, if you've got your laser beam eyes on, you'll be able to see that the question here is, what is CAS Accreditation UK? It's a bit of a niche. You might not be familiar with it, but don't worry, it's not super relevant. It's just so you've got the gist. So what is CAS Accreditation UK? So the first thing that we notice is this carousel over here on my right, your left. No, you're right. And we can see in here that you've got the 3 links. There are more. 3 are shown by default, but if you start hitting that arrow and scrolling around, you'll find plenty more. So we can already see one thing here, which is some of the images in this fit and some of them don't. So this will end up being something that everybody has to go and sort out. It'll be one of those big sort your website out things where people need to come and tidy these up. We've also got these little arrows. Now these arrows are where Google lists corroborating links. So these are links that back up the answer that's been generated by the AI. And Google will show some of these websites after each statement. In theory, these are not references, these are not sources, these are just corroborating links, but we'll talk about that a bit later because I have a theory about this. Third one is, you'll notice down the bottom, these are the questions you might have not even really known that you wanted to ask, but now you're going to have to click on them because you've seen it and now you're curious. And this one you can see down here, in this example, the one where nice shiny yellow arrow is pointing to, you can see it mentions Chaz. So in this example, we've done so much work with our client Chaz on publishing content about CAS accreditation. It actually thinks that Chaz accreditation and CAS accreditation are heavily linked, which in some ways they are. But this means that we can funnel some people down who are in this informational search land still and funnel them down towards our client, which is great. That's a brilliant start. It's pretty neat. So this is another area where you're going to want to try and be getting your website found. And then number 4, you'll actually see that SGE will recommend businesses, not for all searches, it depends on kind of what industry you're in, but it will recommend businesses. So if you ask things like, who's the best recruitment agency or who's the best family law firm in Exeter, then it will give you some recommendations. There's possibly even a 5. This one I'm saying possibly even a 5 because there's a big debate in SEO land about whether PPC will be present on SGE. I'd wager it will be, because I don't think Google are going to turn down a $162 billion revenue source for them. I think that would be a very strange move indeed. But the debate arises because people are sort of curious about how they'll integrate sponsored stuff in with the stuff that's already in there. I think for 162 bill, they'll find a way. So if SGE takes off the way that Google's saying it will, Sundar's saying it will, then this is our new battleground. This is where we're going to be trying to find ourselves, trying to get our businesses, trying to make sure that we're found. So the big question then, can we influence SGE? I've used the word influence because Google doesn't like it when people use phrases like hack, game, or manipulate, or any of those things. But essentially what we're doing is looking to influence our way into making sure that the businesses we're working with are getting found. So we found some ways. Let me show you some case studies. So here's the first one. So on this one, okay, let my notes catch up. These examples, we're basically using the Exposure Ninja website in the majority of cases, and the reason for that is because we really wanted to hack around and play without fear of causing any client websites any trouble, so that's why you'll see the Exposure Ninja website popping up a lot. In this first case, the question again is, what is page title? And EN is ranking nowhere for this. So we're not in the SGE answer, that sort of pink highlighted one at the top, the generated AI one. We're not in there, we're nowhere to be found. We're not in the featured snippet. We are ranking number 8 in organic, but I mean, when this is the real estate at the top of the page to get to number 8, we're way down the page now, so nowhere to be found. So what happens then? Well, you can see that we're now number 1 in the carousel. Our image doesn't quite fit. I've not quite done that bit yet, but it's almost in there. We're number 1 in the carousel. We've got clearly kind of linked title. It's very obvious that this might be something you might want to click on. We're also linked in the corroborating links. So this tells us that, yes, we can get ranked in SGE. You might be interested in Bing as well. So Bing is currently integrated with ChatGPT, so they're combining those two things so that you can have a chat with Bing if you want to find out something. And the answer is that if you do this work for SGE, then you can also show up in Bing. In fact, you can show up in Bing really well. So we're referenced in 6 out of the 7 links in this, so some very simple changes. What's also super exciting about this is that this in SGE and on Bing only took us 12 hours from making the changes to when it goes live. This is so different to how things are now. If you're trying to get your website indexed, you're tapping your fingers for 3 weeks waiting for your page titles and meta descriptions to actually update. So this is very, very different. I'll just show you a couple more case studies so you can see how this kind of works. So this is another before. No SGE ranking again. The search here is for sponsored tag. This one is the gutting one, right. So on this one, this is super rude, right? This is super, super, super rude. So Exposure Ninja here, we've got the featured snippet, we are in number 1 on organic, and we're not in the SGE result. This is so annoying. Like, we've been shunned by Google here. SGE has not let us do what we should be doing. This is pretty appalling. So this is pretty important example, to be honest, because it shows that even if your website's doing quite well now, it might not do quite so well with ranking in SGE. So it's a painful one, but it's an important one. So, done some magic, done some changes. Talk about the changes a bit more in a bit. And with success. So here we are, we're in the SGE carousel ranking, we're linked in the SGE answers, so hurrah, we are actually now allowed to participate in the SGE fun and games on this one. Yeah, we managed it. So just one more example, again, a kind of a case study to prove a certain point. So at this one, at EN, we like to do marketing breakdowns, so we really like to kind of like those kids that like want to take apart watches to see how they work, or people who like take apart their cars because they want to see how it goes. We're a bit like that, but with marketing, so we kind of pull things apart to see how they work. And we've done these breakdowns for all sorts of businesses, so our YouTube accounts, massive now, I can't remember quite how big, Freddie, maybe you can, but I think it's like
50,000.
Thank you, Freddie. So it's pretty big, and we've got people coming to see how Huel do their marketing, or Gymshark, or Lululemon, or whoever it may be that we've tried to extract the gold from. So this one is for Shein, everyone's favourite fast fashion IP pirates, Shein. But sad times, again, no SGE ranking, did all that work, we've got some great blogs and great videos, and yeah, we're not there. Now we are. So again, it can be done. SGE ranking number 1 in carousel, linked twice from the SGE answer. So it's clear, you get the gist, it's clear. You can influence your way into SGE, or at least you can influence your way into the links. Founder Tim likes to, he is one of these people that wants to take apart the watch to see how it works. So this wasn't enough for him. He wanted to see, can we actually pull it apart and make it so that the actual words that it's generating, this generative AI is actually putting on the page, instead of just the links, the actual words. Can we change those? So not just the links, but who is actually talking about, the actual words that it's saying. Because this is how we're going to influence our way into being able to have our business name mentioned around particular searches, about being able to actually control the message that we're saying about our business. I feel okay about saying this joke because Tim actually wrote it himself. So Tim likes nothing better than Googling himself, which is why we've used this search up here. So how many books has Tim Cameron Kitchen written? SGE says 5. You can see that the answer's a little bit wonky because it says how to get to the top of Google, there's another one in there, and then how to get to the top of Google is listed twice again. It is a very good book, it's an Amazon UK bestseller, but listing it 3 times is probably still a little bit over the top. We do update it every year because of course SEO changes and so the guide has to change too, but yeah, this is wrong. He's also got another 2 secret, he says they're terrible, they're just old. He wrote them a long time ago, we don't publicise them anymore, but he did write 2 more books. So the answer is actually 7. There should be 7 books listed here. So we need to see if we can actually change the words that it's saying, not just the links. And the answer is yes, we can. And this is super interesting for a couple of reasons. So firstly, this happened within just 5 hours. So it's so fast. It's so fast compared to what we're all used to dealing with. Much quicker than the regular SERPs. But this one actually might be a bit more profound than it seems, and this is for slightly nerdy reasons, but bear with me. So Google's official position is that the SGE answer that is generated by their large language model is generated. It's not scraped from websites and rewritten, it's generated. It's something that it's supposed to be producing itself. And for that reason, they give these corroborating links. So these are not sources, they're not references. These are supposed to be just corroborating links. But this test kind of demonstrates that actually that's not quite true. Because Google is in fact sourcing and referencing the content that we've changed. Otherwise, how on earth could it be now saying 7? It must be referencing that. A large language model is not updated very often. It's a massive thing to deal with. You can't just update it every couple of hours in case someone's updated their website. That's not how it works. So what's actually happened is the large language model has actually come, looked at the internet, done a search, scraped some information and rewritten it. And this is quite a big deal, particularly when Bing Chat works like that. Bing Chat does scrape material and rewrite it, but they're really open about it. They say, yes, that's what we do. But Google have been making a big point about this all being corroboration, and it's nothing to, they're not doing that. I don't quite buy it. This is a clear example of that not quite being true. But anyway, all of this put together means that yes, you can influence SGE, you can influence what's going to come up in there. So it seems very, very, very unlikely that the SEO is dead conversation has any credence to it, even with this big profound change coming. So the big question then, how do you do it? I'm going to give you such an SEO answer. It's not possible to say, like, if you do X, then Y will happen. If you do this, then you'll definitely rank on SGE. Because it depends on so many different things. It depends on what your website's like already, what your competitors are doing. They're probably not thinking about this. This is pretty new. As you could see from how few hands were up at the beginning saying they'd seen about it, you're well ahead of the game. It also depends on the terms that you're targeting. We talked a bit earlier about informational terms, but you'll also have some of your more commercial terms. So it's important basically to take an experimental approach. You're going to have a little bit of a play, and you're going to have to use what you already know about search engines to help you out with this. A few things that you might want to try is playing around with page copy adjustments, and those don't have to be super extensive from what I've seen. They can be quite simple changes. You might want to consider creating new pages to specifically target terms. And then you've got some of your SEO classics, like building links, on-site optimization, page titles, and meta descriptions. What's interesting about it, I think, which is demonstrated by one of those case studies we had earlier, is that these things interact differently in the new world than they do currently, which is why we can have that featured snippet, we can have that position 1, and SGE can say, whatever, and just cruise on through and look at something else instead. So the way that these interact are quite different. So what happens now? What do we do about all this? You've got 3 options, I reckon. First one is to just go all out. I'm going in, I'm doing SGE, this is my new favourite thing ever, and I'm just going to do this all day, every day. I'm going to work on ranking for every single page of my website. It's going to be top priority because we don't know when this is going to be rolled out, and I'm going to sleep super well at night because I'm going to know when this drops, my business is ready. So it's definitely an option. The risk to this is that SGE is still in labs, so it is likely to continue changing a bit. They're likely to want to play with it, given that we can do these changes in such extensive ways and actually get ourselves ranked quite so quickly. It does suggest that they might want to make a few tweaks, otherwise everybody is going to be doing this as quickly as this, right? So this is definitely an option. Approach 2 is to make like an ostrich and just put your head in the sand and pretend this never happened. You can just do nothing and hope it goes away. This is the person who takes the bulb out when their car's saying that it's about to die. This is a big risk. I definitely don't recommend this one. This is, we helped businesses after Panda and Penguin, and some of these businesses were really on their knees. They were super struggling because the changes had happened, they weren't prepared, and they lost business overnight, and it was a big scary. So I don't recommend that one. Approach 3 is pretty level-headed, I reckon, which is to make plans for this and to start preparing. So for this, I'd make sure your agency, if you have an agency, or your SEO person, or you, if it's you, understands SGE, has had a little look at it, had a little play with it. So you're going to want to probably sign up to Google Labs and use that US proxy so that you can start playing with it and just get a bit of a feel for how it all works. You might want to run some experiments and see what happens, and you might want to just have a bit of a test and see how it all works. The benefit of doing that now, of course, is that if SGE does change a little bit before it actually rolls out, you're still dealing with just a newer model of a car that you've taken apart and figured out how it worked. If you're not doing that, you've got an alien spaceship coming down and you're about to try and figure out how that works, and that sounds, well, not good. So it depends, it's up to you, it's totally depends on where you're at with this. Our advice would be, take option 1 if you're feeling super ambitious and super aggressive and you really want to go all in, or option 3 if you're a little bit more cautious. Option 2 is not really an option. I'm sure there are a lot of people here who've got plenty on their plate, but it's not one I'd recommend. So, if you want help with this, then this is of course what we do. We are digital marketing ninjas. We work with clients all day, every day, delivering full service digital marketing campaigns, so SEO, content, PPC, the whole shebang, and we do that all day, every day. So what you can do is request a free digital marketing and website review. So this is something that we offer to anyone who's looking for help with their digital marketing for their website. It's a video, it's filmed by one of our amazing marketing consultants. So Freddie's one of those. Sorry, Freddie, drop you in it. Hey. So they're filmed by our digital marketing consultants. They do this for literally hundreds of businesses every year. So they have seen everything. And they're very good at breaking things down and being able to give you some priority actions. And they usually can do that in just a couple of days. SGE is not something that we currently include in our free digital marketing review because we are a bit ahead on that, as we could see from how many people had heard about it yet. But we are going to be adding this as a premium version for our review. But we love building brands, and we're very passionate, as hopefully you've heard from my talk. So we're hoping to just include SGE for anyone who signs up today at Building Brands. We'll just include that as part of your review. So if you do want a review, if you do want help, we will give you recommendations on what to focus on. We'll literally give you, here are your priority actions. We'll look at things like how your website's converting, as well as things like what your channels are doing. And you're welcome to do these yourself or with your agency, or obviously we'd love it if you did them with us, but it's totally cool if you just want to take them away as well. That's absolutely fine. So if you're ready to do that, then all you need to do is you're welcome to grab a free book as well, but you want to grab one of these forms. It takes literally just a minute to fill out. You can grab it from Freddie or come and see us. We're just at the table by the door. And you'll just want to fill that out, or you can go to exposure.ninja/BB and register there. So before I wrap up, I don't think he's in here, but I do want to say, and I hope everyone will say to Dave when they see him, thank you so much for putting on such a good event. It's super exciting to be at Building Brands. It's an amazing community and a proper networking event rather than one of those big sort of faceless conferences that you can end up at. So I'm very glad that I got the opportunity to speak at Building Brands. It's particularly difficult to put an event like this together when certain people don't turn up to give their talk at the last minute. Oh, sorry, Tim. But yeah, thank you so much for having us. So yes, if you would like a book or you would like a form, please come and see us, and we'd be really happy to help or to just have a chat with you about your marketing in general. Thank you.
Ali, guys, she did this on an evening's preparation. Can I have a proper round of applause for Ali? That was magnificent. Well done. And just to confirm, if anyone wants a copy of the SEO books, they are for free on your stand. Is that correct? That's a nod because you've taken the mic off. You've had enough now. You want to go away. Thank you, guys. I'll jump onto my script and just make sure everyone's clear of where we need to be now.